abetakan.
Okay, let me see. Yeah, got it.
Adunta Dral, start the music.
Oh yes, Niki Uhanya. Tofenka suke Kalorn music, sport and culture. Pako kaya puchoka papakatuna. Nkatika sienengan anawani. Hime hanwe mahate hofieni taga kunam. Ngaswan kai ngaswan ning kusubak. Ti etile nwe mahate hofafie. Nkakayon kale pupakol haware ning concert. Teneyem chacho keisen hamake haputumba bufaniha. Keinke piano second deuxième édition. Pemeneka kahinuti sate daslami 11 to 12 November 2022 on 12 November 2022 tent le 10 ek nefe no punakopa hawareya efecho arrangement fo dimasia toko futaka hechum bu group be chali kayem tika foye group safar Kalorn group Basiru Bun group Naomi Hilol Mama Africa Elang Mane Atibon nen dofbi almalan Lampo futaka pa artist pat lainnya Isik ang kasokia MC Jojo Lamzo Heartbeat Lidi Nutaka Bakolombaji Ja Michel Ja Michael Jata Family Robert Elijah MMJ Amansati Kalorn Boy Kana Jirio LK Paul PJ Carolinka One Smiling Queen Group Fred Jata By Jata, Cabo Boza, Louis Sanya, Ning Esamai Kalorn Ambassador, Nkei Senni, Afatak advance ticket, Janning Hinom ha, $50. Day ticket, name Hinom ha Fanteho, $75. After 12, Ning Sitalan Ngaswan Ning Sisbox Soka Drum, Ekina, Keme Ankaka Choi, Hinom ha Kisubena, Ekina $200 Ekaka Choi. Kale hu tokole ngay sending ay ka invite chief patrons for kan sende ci menon jambadon himbunya ticket pakal katina young family funding may haji world changers flawless ladies Juventus Club United Sisters the Brotherhood Cuba Kambeng Youths Starlight Sisters One Love Sisters Joyful Sisters Jamaican Girls Able Sisters Bahin Nafayo Chief Guest of Honor Bunya Alkalat Daslami Kalat Marakisa Kalat Kabekel Yahumbotin Daslami Bunya Lumbechon Tikan Kalorn Sembe Kalorn Ministry of Youth and Sport Culture Kainin Bunya affiliate number State Papiti Kalorn ya Kemka Gambia Sikatong Gunjur Berending Good Food, Tranquil, Serekunda, Fajikunda, Lameng, Brikama, Sifo, Kiti, Marakisa, Faraba, Sanyang, Tujereng, Kunkujang Jataya, Kujang Mariama, Ning Jambanjel, Kati Kayon Kal Anowan Panopanayam, Isikle Gambia, Guys, Senegal, Kazamas, Ning Diaspora, Kalorn Music, Sport and Culture, Pako Kayon Kal.
Stay tuned, program will soon start. We got a mix bag for you guys today. Meanwhile, enjoy the music. good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are watching or wherever you are listening. I'm going to open the program in the usual language, and then I'll come back to English. Meanwhile, grab your favorite drink, lean up and listen to our program today. Tihitaini, emisonya etuna eyene fuluya tile lufa itfara pisipa pakoning painganga hinkape program ya pe tika inu makakutuna inganu sogaga Tihitaini Kalorn TV. Tihitaini Radio, unupainga nuchobi kalo program ya every Saturday ebnifli pe America fioi October etaga kunom 22 lianga sokia 2022 muda fio 10/22/2022 ngado kichan alufi pulon kalonia anowan panayem ni fanofan fanayem lo bisinjana pa ni bisida na pa onukan nu kichan alufioi emisongeto na nuchobi asibidi teyo noema. Good morning, good afternoon, listeners, wherever you are. Extending your greetings at your various locations. This program is being aired from our studios here called Tihitaini. This is a typically cultural-oriented program, but today we're going to have a mixed bag. We will be speaking both in English and various languages. So Binta is going to lead the flow. If she speaks in Karoninka, I'm going to translate that into English, and if I speak in Karoninka, then whichever language we speak, I'll definitely make sure that if you don't speak the mother tongue, you'll be able to hear what we're going to say here. So your presenters today here are myself, Matthew Jaju, and my brother Saul Jaju. And we have a guest here with us today. I will not let the cat out of the bag. Those of you who are watching, the face might be very familiar. There's no other stranger other than our very own sister. But I'll let her introduce herself and to some of our audience who might not be very familiar. But for those of you who watch our platform, she's no stranger to the whole of Gambia and a lot of us out here in the United States. Again, you're watching Tihitaini Kalorn TV. Binta, welcome to our studios.
Mr. Jajo, today yes. I have both judges here, so I will pick Saul. I will say Saul, and I will say Mr. Jajo on the other hand. Njaba de kakijang Kalorn pulong pano panangam to dunia njeng kasokam Binta kemo jata baya egnem yino hifinio but engineerum kumbulga go naun lombao nam chike jajo njeng kasok binto so njeng kasok binto njadi kombo faraba bandang njiki yole America tagale sanyin city lo we in 2001 njaba mahmeme so Mr. Jaju njabang Nsogala baraka for giving me this opportunity.
All right, like I said, Binta, today is going to be a mixed bag. We're going to do this program using the English language as well as I know you have some audiences who may not speak our native language. So feel free to speak in any language, whatever you say in Karoninka. Feel free to also say it in what's it called in English. Pour nos amis qui nous écoutent, qui parlent français, c'est la même émission de Tihitaini qui nous prenons chaque samedi. Aujourd'hui, c'est le mois d'octobre à 22 jours, l'an 2022. Aujourd'hui, on a une étrangère qui s'appelle Binta. Elle est ici depuis en Amérique. Elle a une nouvelle qu'il peut nous donner. Donc pour alukalonia painga mekani ni tarago pakan painga meni ke side lompo ni français e kinengi sokalo akaola nuta ka fio nganga so Binta o papelon petoni pe America e ko nganata ki na le fio pupachuno la yo una le fio pulon tu. All right, Binta, I know you never cease to surprise me as an individual or as your former teacher. Every now and then when we meet, when we talk, I always learn something. I always learn something. And every now and then I hear Binta has moved from one step to another. You never cease to amaze me. And that's what a teacher wishes for all his or her students. I remember when I was teaching, I always tell my students, who am I? And they will always say, you are our teacher. I said, no, what am I doing? And they say, oh, you are teaching. And I'm like, no, I am making you to be better than myself. That's the work of a teacher. And your aim and your prayer is always for your students to be better than you. And I always used to tell them, one day when you are driving and you see an old man with a stick walking along the street, pick him along, and that is me. And I have met a lot of my students both back at home and outside the country, and I know I have not seen one that have failed, to be very, very candid. most of the students or 90% of the students that I have come in contact with are far ahead of me. And I pray that they continue to be ahead of me and continue to surprise me as a teacher. I know this was not our first interaction. We used to be I used to be a teacher at MDI like over 20 years ago. Here we are today in the United States. Like I said, never cease to amaze me. So Binta, what do you get in your bag today?
Well, one thing about me, I do not have a fear of jumping. I love to jump. I love to try things. If I don't feel good about it, I let it go. So njifendo hinu change. Egenem kuero. Thank God I him teach you know a little bit about me tangeneta MDI. The day I graduated MDI, we were taking a photo. Zil came out and gave me my I-20 to go look for a visa. That was the visa that brought me here.
Wow. Unbelievable. Okay.
Yeah, so since I came to this country, I want to, if you could English a little bit, but
okay. Yeah, okay.
2001 in Jingita Mahmeme. I have the mindset. Pamilola lam picking up yam jibicate Mahmeme karam, but I'll degree and up and dug pin pen nape.
Okay.
Kadadak man invest back home in a second panels. In Milol to fala hitago in America because I don't even think that if you go in le photoglepo. But the same mindset njingi into hichumbu bagan kataka mahmem. And the same mindset pagalombo game gadege ngipa kelem few all mindset almost all those people nga that's the reason I work in the healthcare system for 20 years. My background is clean. The full-time job, family. But Milo and Fangam Pume, we men inside healthcare and job uniform Piananio, Kadilombo, career it will include my people. Nature be on full platform real estate.
Okay. All right, Binta, briefly let me translate a bit for our audience that may not hear the language. So I'm going to speak as if Binta is the one that is speaking. What essentially Binta said was, I'm not the type that is afraid to jump. All right. I came to this country over 20 years ago. She said she came to this country over 20 years ago, and her dream was, when she entered this country, this was her dream that, hey, I'm going to go get my education to the highest level in the United States. Yeah. I was not even thinking of going and getting established myself in the country called United States. My aim was to go get a degree to the highest level and then do whatever I wanted to do. And then when she came over 20 years ago, she started all her studies, and then she worked in the healthcare for over 20 years plus. But after doing that, since she said she's not the type that is afraid to jump, it's a country of dreamers. She decided to jump, and now she's venturing into what we call real estate. That is buying and selling of houses or whatever we call it. So that's the status that Binta. So Binta, what led you to venture into real estate, and what is real estate, if I may ask? Real estate real estate.
Real estate ning asoka land. Nasoka hang hesing land, and everything else that is attached to the land, it will not move. Real estate. So unanu no man kene. Hang lombo ni singos ekumbane singos hang to kene ne no hang. Real estate. So njihe hinam motivate put to real estate first of all. Tagada pakan around me. Penga making Yamakiyot career, we always talk. We talk about business. We talk about I cannot even imagine for health system. So, but these people around me, for knowing my potential, for knowing who I am, why not you try real estate? Maybe you will build good interest in it. Real estate, Binta and real estate, we are too far apart.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Because the concept I will not buy a house in this country.
Okay.
But now sinjana few pala city la wi akelon po pala city la wi like akelon po pala city la cat but pagano nanga sokso ayin lang lay yam la to ko yam la raw hina galli fa lang pangina la nyigi to ko yam la raw pom omo na ta ko to ko hank
that's true
yeah
omo na ta ko to ko kumban e ya fa sokolombo eti. So in the classroom here, that after a fear will I pass this exam. But the concept engine target in so many ways. For I got normally hank, I got homeowner, I got to invest in real estate. All those fears went away because I have some understanding. Okay. So can we now continue from there?
All right. So do you want to ask a question?
Yeah, okay. No, idea say na kuni la fiao. Puro uni funding ke ba uni kem kani una kuyo kile lompo. Binta motivated teo ni hame teo puro apuna ko apin venture ti eke business aso company so ke for drum akina ti ku medical na ni pujo ku panas na akatan ekina. Na pa na ti una pakan kemeni ukiyo kile tibo na sinjena positioned Binta amu kakaragan kemeni una kemekani una unyanga upataka hame because na gatani wapata conference so kefa anke kakawol wa uitelu wa une anke so na ukiyo ti omwa na ukiyo tak hame yani ti kunuini hame iteniu hame choleniu ti dula so na kiyo toko tak pursuaba ngasugi tak faida because na sinjana pake paka nkale time ite hina waste ema paski pike life ngana ke tayo emeni poko pujo kubutanga iri etoni ni hamenge keyi paringa na koni ole ngana ko tipike pu life pemeni pina hindru life etay na sinjana binda giyo gile ehena sokuna anakiti drop anakiti ku emeni efe puchulu etile hamena na keni yale na hin respect luwe emiale ekne on fio na cholila so na sinjana fie pulontu kakarangan meni unapufonde anana ngata kut hame dukare sidam platform ye afachu ne ma ata kut hame ngoti yene afa hitoniti idea logique ya meni binta ekna na ataki fio ekna na fie pro pambaka katika me yeah.
All right, for the benefit of our English listeners, those of you who are watching, in summary, what the two of them said, what Binta actually said, well, a lot of us come here with dreams. And we come here, we don't think of owning or buying a house. And we work here for years, and we invest all our money back home. But this is what she said. For every man or for every human being, when you wake up, where you open your eyes on a daily basis, that's where you live, that's where you're going to live. And as much as we have dreams to retire in Africa, I think I've stayed long in this country to warrant me to own a house. I have been the typical people that will say, oh, why do I need a house? I'm going to go back home. But I'm sure Binta, knowing what she knows, she might be able to persuade me today, and I can change my mind. I can change my mind and go in for a house. A lot of us Gambians, or most of us Africans, come here and we kill our, like the American we say, and excuse my language, we work our asses off and build mansions in Africa where we will only stay for 10 or 15 years. Because when I retire here and wait for my Social Security, I'll be about 65, heading to 70. How many years is left in my life? I have a mansion in Africa. Somebody is living in there. They're enjoying my property more than I am doing. So why not invest where you live? And Saul added and said, yes. Binta had said that when she came into this country, she was very focused. She also was the skeptic like myself, but knowing what she knows today, she even thought Who would have thought myself, Binta, being in the healthcare, will leave healthcare and venture into real estate? Will I even pass this exam? She thought she may not make it, but sitting there and having determination made her to pass through the exam. And here she is today. She is a realtor. All right, Binta, here is the questions. I'm gonna give you a three-pronged questions.
Okay.
When, why, and how should I buy a house? So we're gonna start with when, and then why, and how. When, how, why. So you pick any one of them that you want to address, and then we will take it from there. When, why, and how should I buy a house?
Mr. Jaju, you know, our people, our older Karoni, they used to come to Combo and do safari.
Yes.
Yes. And every year after the safari, they will pack up and go home.
Yeah.
If they had stayed in those lands and built houses, how many villages will Karoni own in that Combo?
Oh, yeah.
Genuine question.
A lot. And do you still know that we, the grandkids of those ancestors, we still have that mentality?
Absolutely.
Because we don't want to invest here. When is not always the right time? When to invest in this country? When to buy a property in this country? Teme afi normally hank. Mr. Jaju, that's a great question. I am meaning, adini sok when? Adini sok anna when? Apuman singe. Kasing mo ipumenkiam. Inkomete pumeneyam. Teme awem pare. Awe hin pare purupia not to be sate lefi nom hank. Those are questions and chakan fang. Ndika hinumaka korom. How long will I be there? Am I safe? Am I secure? Because income anyangana hitagu a meaning anyangana hichoy hanka. So after singing the funny, nchakan funny, njihina him pare, no hina pare. You need to try it. Na hin to pare, chakan ana angamena for indung a for ini kayangankan. Now no kubunawe na a singer to bit in Pemba men in Pignafi ni manuva, pura agadi ni tako hank a halefie. But hangulum bagio responsibility. Adi ni lompo piano to hang ni luasayak. Hanga giogin impetio, anyanganaho hinu maintenance, anyanganaho hinu topato, anyanganaho hinu take care so good. Puro equity yangane tago kate na toko. Because after him build equity. Equity egnem bonofis te hang. Hitle America. Una kalon nalki yo why. Wode Mr. Yajuna chakane why. Una kalonu le fida ne kopu. Pamilolo babudom puye ni babigana PM. Njika chop mortgage for 30 years? Am I even crazy? Njidi ni chop mortgage. Eti ni chop tilonto eti ni pulonto many memma men njifa ni mokana kanto akumbana ngasage for city a wing aswa. Uno honyita ni kopu. Bare ti mahma mit America minje me fiat ko gu tem. Ay numa anyi nape. Anyi accomplish something. You have to owe somebody.
Yeah.
Pada kini kopula kena. Una kalonu honyita ni kopu.
Yes.
Barati hilla baraka nata akudu ni kopu. Ati tagle like nata akudu ni kopu. That's the opposite part of. The millionaire penga no chukaga feel bulon too. Nimbe credit card ni nyokopi ni everything investment everything. So tuku fair nukopo. Nukopo ifini hinile barakante. Real estate nano ma hank. Nukopo tom investment tom na meaning go sagi fuo makede hina hin crash e kumbane di fuo manama mo choba chop. But no hina invest on CDs and stuff makede hina crash manama de maga. But real estate investment eti koleti tokone no fune hina guro bare wanianto. Because hina kal lefi hinom hang kano man hange ha. Af no man ho ndag falingeti ngai. So
all right. Thank you, Binta. I did ask Binta why, when, and how should I buy a house. On the when side, this is what she said. You can't tell somebody.
The house side. The house side, I will come to that because it's more detailed.
Okay. Yeah. On the when side, Binta said we won't be able to tell it is individually dependent. The person has to ask themselves, where am I financially? If you don't know, then you will need to ask somebody for advice.
Yep.
One thing I know, I only know how to pay my bills, budget for my weekly or monthly living, and that's all I know. I don't know anything about house. So if you don't know like me, you ask those that know. Binta is here today. Thank God she is one of us and she knows. So if you don't know and you think you are not ready, you need to ask somebody for advice. The person will be able to ask you questions and be able to determine if you have reached that point of when. As to why, like, okay, as to why, he said, if every business person that you see here, he said, let's look at our ancestors that used to come from the islands and come and do seasonal trade in the Gambia and go back. We have all had this history as kids or as grown up, that our ancestors used to come to Serekunda. They will tell you, this is where they were, this is where they were. And then even up to today, the traces of history are there in Gambia. The Alcalo of Bakote is still a Jata, which shows that they have Karoninka roots or they have some Jola roots. You go to, what's it called, Busumbala, is also the same Jata out there. The Alcalo of Yundum is still a Jasi. These are all from, I happen to have worked with one of the sons of that Jasi family from Yundum. They are still Karoninkas. He will tell you, I'm a Karoninka. These are people that have actually stayed and converted, but our people will come for the dry season and they will go back. That's why today Karoninkas don't own many places in the Gambia, but they had ventured into many towns. Assuming that our people have stayed when they came, we would have owned many, many towns. But today, if you ask how many towns have a lot of concentrations of Karoninkas? 2, Seda Silame and Katong. Those are the only major ones that you can name. The rest is here and there, because our people will come and go back. So here we are in America today. If we come and we do not establish, just like our ancestors were doing, the reason why our people don't establish here in the US, to buy a house, you need to go into a debt, or you need to take what we call a mortgage. But think of it, whether you take a mortgage or not, you have to pay rent. If you live in an apartment like myself, yeah, I still have to pay rent. And that rent, as I pay, it goes down the drain. But when you buy a house, the money that you pay into the house stays. And I think Binta is explaining something about equity. That is, whatever value you add into that house stays. And whenever you are ready to go back to your Gambia or to your ancestral roots, you can sell that house and it doesn't depreciate, it will always appreciate. That is why we need to definitely buy houses here in the US. All right, so if you want to say something before we go into the how.
Okay, Binta, so what is the differences like someone owning apartment and then someone owning a house? Because I see to read that many people are afraid to venture to get their own houses because of many responsibilities are there. It's different from being in an apartment. So what can one have the courage, instead of depending on, I would say like 95% or 85%, most people depend on apartments. But how can one have the confidence to venture into buying a house and settle like you have your own house now? How can one do that?
Someone is teasing you here. I said, I didn't know my cousin Binta still speaks good Karoninka.
Oh my gosh. Tell them I'm sending my love out to them. Saul.
Yes.
When we talk about rent.
Yeah.
First of all, rent increases every year.
Exactly.
Mortgage does not increase. When you lock it, this is what you need to pay every month. That's where it stays. When you pay rent, You are paying the landlord's mortgage. You buying them a home. For you, if you buy a house, if you pay a mortgage, you paying yourself that money. The fear of somebody moving to locate on their own house because of the responsibility, maintenance, and all that.
Yeah.
Because the landlord does it. That's where they convince you, they wrap your brain around. You don't need anything else. They convince you, they say, just give me the cash. I will do the rest for you. It's about time you let that go. When you stay with mama and daddy, when you grow up, you need to start going spreading your wings. This is where you need to spread your wings and go get your own home because it's worth it at the end of the day.
All right, Suleiman Hena Chakane, after I have a question for you that is coming from our audience. Suleiman Hena Chakane Binta Pume Anna Yangepuhoni, Nachuga, Jumbunile, Hichumbaka Lekanaki and Rotino Mekumpan, a henkafe comeni, Nkafefe, Nkasok, Piabanjanakiati, Ti Ekumpan, Kame Manol Kafia, the Inkofulen Aisia, ni Wahewa Fiepulunto, a Fuchi Dininji. But a hebinda na isa no komeni ni abadu luwas edi ne penano penan etilo etil warante wadio wadi anga yemiate yo luwas na lefie afa pena luwas etio yo bare na enya hinom ekumpan an kulkul anga nyange hinom ni tengeno ni tahati song ni ema suuli susubat afinjo him wa hewa awenga ka choy for ta afa ket warante for ta afa pa choy nukopana niti ekumpaneti wa hewa upenanante yo bare ning apa di luas alua ate kumbana na sokiso ufoni amanyima ni lake na puchia njifa memanol ni lake na hinafia njifa memanol so heni won pampaka to fie nkali pampaka konowe unano chuka ni toko hanga pawine woto uchobala di luasia la ma anchuka ni lake na puchia memanol bare unawuni ya komeni bindasuki wa hewa ewo wasete kumpan unkinanu penal lompo ekumpaneti songete wo so woto wahoa wonfule na apme mano lake nai awe kalongan ekumpaneti sidile sana njangisa hitako ayake pour kachomia ni hitako mike mani. Binta, here's a question from one of our audience. Okay. They want to find out if you have any plans to extend your real estate into Gambia. I was going to ask you, but somebody beat me to that question.
Okay. Before we go to my services first, I will answer that question.
Okay.
I'm with Keller Williams. Keller Williams is Keller Williams Realty Atlanta Partners. Okay. Keller Williams is almost number one worldwide brokerages. They are buying and selling, and when you say real estate, this company is it's in 50 countries.
Okay.
So I can do real estate in terms of referral to other countries, to different states. But in the qualification is Georgia. But for example, Georgia. You know, he refer to Kemaka teammate on it. Take care. And then sumo maybe nim blessing say he no continue. I will extend to Gambia too. So it's part of the plan.
Okay. All right.
Nice to hear that.
Yeah. All right. So I think we should hit the how person, and then we will take a break from there and then come back again.
Okay.
Like
so
how do I start to buy a house? Sometimes people don't know. How do I start to buy a house?
This is where I come in. This is how I come in. Buying a home. Again, the credit score, the FICO score is really bad. Again, I'm not sure man it's just uncertain, unknown. Come back at that fear for the unknown. Again, so move around. Wisconsin lama or Atlanta lama. So again, okay, fear engine Purka egna toporate hank. But let me tell you, ning all of your hank, chakan people like us. Yongalam to telephone. Information at Omialwe. Number is 678-665-4588. Yongaliam chakanam, just sister, credit score on Fianamfi. I will send you to the amazing lenders. Pagan penga men in poker me credit square di pume figure new fix. Honey time made a chalot. If I can if you're young and if you're young and if you're young and him. Ning Adaka fear. Man kahinumagati. Hanko puma lefi hinu. Man manyama yama hitago achu ahino himo duty. To go in duty. Takanuni, unike meaka, puma nyangane, what procedure nyangane hinu, puma nyangane hinu, apataka hangehe lefia. And nakanto family I got him comfortable at yokanan anatayokanan and that one to manamati the palantero the window. So reach out to us and no on case by case because Saul at other hank agnan in case yo go for Mr. Matthew case so I know in different. Reach out to me and out of state I am. Give for funny the correct people you could talk to.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I think you had answered that question, but just in case if I just wanted to know if this is her venture or she is working in estate business. Yo chugamne binta asoka sokuna ni businesses di onka sokyo Keller Williams netat lela ma America barakna la sineti o Georgia kine pana Georgia Atlanta. Bare ning apale America warante apa Europe la kena timike ma na kupa neo akne na ini na fani referral na ini na sokeni yonkal numero eye njobulo lombo pisinchana ba njobo isenalu nombeti bintati ti screen ya punomba babeti osi subak sabulo et officia ning eti cell phone eti opikina plonji sen lati Natalia ka het genga yu alo kem kat ka sinchan ni chop information ya nin lompon inina kem kat ka sinchan ni pochinol what's it called ni share a program ya anchuka gadembe ni henchalo loti pakanuna fiepulo una pulo nuinia toko pupachinol kanu sokalu timba ono pucho
Miss
wanted to say something. Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Yes. Njikano man hang kangan from anlama hinom hang.
Okay.
Kano man hanglombo is included. Uragaragle pagan penga mening katada kank. Kafiyat kangaga ngolofi inu maybe manymamate income yang kataga pachite. But in chukin kanyangana piano hanka by force foka pachoy lonia. No. Hank hinyangan te ko fan stress. Ti mahem me wa ho hango fanu solution et agarago. Ning adaga hank menin san afia to ko alle fito ho sanya alle fito mafa. Yonkaliam unomana hank ha ubu choba manyimanu nakana pawil lefima puraka tag hike hank. Ning asin jana ning go hinuma gagati manyiman tag makuchogo ga fiata kanto choye chiti now. Tuko chono pengan choba kad lonia tay kabuke him foreclose on the house after losses. If aka hanka hatawe njaka no man honka choba manyamate ngo he work out awa wasetoko afu puluo. Tuko chone kina. Yongaliam unomana hanka ni hobana ni tay enjoy no folingia no nakana te hike hank. Okay? Ning asin jana ne payolo ko suwaito. Ko chira bamba nawe o hanka kujoga epoka kaneta tawe bar fie ni no hini yurwa hanga kincha kinji sani o epuga fie ka yanka kakaga hanga fom jidi hinu manangu yongali mu no mana hanga mbi fan headache hanga nyangandi ko fan blood pressure hanga nyangandi ko fan pamilo lal pemba mena dini hingoto anxiety adini hingoto nana uno mana hanga nu hina downsize uno mana hanga epin level to your income. So that's two of my services, but I have extra more. Thank you.
All right. You want to say that bit in English?
Selling the property?
Yes, and about when your circumstances changes at work, what you should do and so forth. Yeah.
I'm so glad the people that they already had their homes. They were not thinking like me previously. So they are smart people. But look, if you have your own home, you haven't, let's say your income is now down, it's hard to afford the income and your feeding and every expenses. Or your family has downsized, or your family has increased now, or you have health issue, and you have your home. Do not let your home stress you. Let's sell it, downsize to your level. Do not let your house give you hypertension. Everything that America provide, they have a solution for it. Call me, ask me, what do we need to do to list this property so you will be at peace. Do not let your house choke you. That's all I want to say.
Okay. Baba, you have something before we take, we hope before we take.
Yeah. Well, me when I think anataka hang, and then Oma Nainat, each of you hang her to a certain point, fear, pakati a company nka chopio teo, and then honey pumena chwe neno teo losses. Women in Tago.
Maybe Putumbolombo hine change something. He was fine, qualified nini choi hangha at the right way. But in Musinjana later on, few years later, but hangha still cut atagu kusumoi. But in Bobby of need someone oh, business not talk. But you know, ni manima fanga business and about. Something happened. Something happened. Okay. So I not choy mortgage fananya for choy mortgage. So again, I lose money man nakanamato still cut. To be an utul pagan gabuke capital hanka town. A montag manufacturing for problem lama youngalium. No mana hanka. Enjoy no copenanity. Neto, let's say 3 out and job at a hanka 300,000. But actually, I try hanka for 250,000 to equity. Ufu was a hanga hat market no mana hanga. Let's say unano no mana hanga 280. Manimambe there after finma puchoimo falling it in Kaneyo. But now him taking they will foreclose on you. Because Papa for the game, Manimambe manga sola hema hanga the 5 Kanoman. He been very cheap. So our manyoman 150 here oh. Egnala mefoko was to market here, nga job hanga hata and Kanoman, our emanakanamatoko free, Niganamagaga. So do not let that happen. Because fungi.
So egna lua lompone mfane poko kabihim for bang for
ning acho at certain time hanga hanya
to certain period
no miss choyeti several times.
I understand that. Yeah.
Yes, if a job hanga tawe and ninka job hanga tawe kala feed hanga manimama tayinka sola he kala feed hanga 158 away hina o egna bank ya ne sola he. So, Pogoy for a job hanga hatawe. It don't matter how much how is a sukutu for hanga pahochoy. If a job hanga hatawe, Njaga Norman home, and you take manga swallow hamacha hanging anga swallow, Egnala me for a job. Nga kade abukai her.
So, Pisiraba, Nisifa Binda Nasoka, it means Binda Gyogi Pura Kunyanuna, in the sense that Problema Lutaga Fonka Mamutuna. Because as well ni no call, nini no call, it in attack on losses. Right now. Yeah.
All right. Uchopa mitang nunyuhonia nchapa chukele anna chekani question jilompo tata question embanji nyange kachakan binta alukem kat kasitan. Misongia titeni ne yake alu efuli lenu so ti programme roni ke mkale fiole njifanga fara pisipa sol jajo nembenta. Ono puchopa emitang jibsu kani alu music after no we kunole cha hingi nunyuhoni ale kotonge hin share screen it on bufuleni alu information it on ile quick
okay
baba ngata koko mi where's my share button here? No, when the Facebook here.
Well, I'm so happy to have Binta today, man.
Thank you.
Okay, here. This one here.
This one goes to all the African people. Say goes it on to all the black people. A black man is killing on a black man. A black man is hating on a black man.
If you're just tuning in, you're watching Tihitaini program. Your presenters here today are myself, Matthew Jajo, Saul Jajo, and we have our guest here in our studio, Binta Jata Ba from Georgia, Atlanta. Binta, while we were taking a break, I had a question that came from one of our audience. And the question was, what is the minimum cost of a house in Georgia, Atlanta? I think somebody's interested in buying a house out there. Or do you want them to reach out privately to you?
You have to be pre-approved. You just don't go and just go look for a house. You could go and look for a house that is not your
at your level.
You cannot afford that. So what you do, you talk to a lender. If you have cash to buy, no problem. But most of the time we use mortgage. So you have to be approved. In case they say, hey, Mr. Jaji, you are approved for 400,000, then we go shopping. But you cannot just go and shop around. You may fall in love with a home that you cannot afford.
Okay. So in essence, what you're saying, the price is not fixed, it's dependent on the type of house you want, how much income you earn, and then you are valued on based on that money. But if you have cash, obviously you can buy.
Yeah.
Yo, achakana ono na chakane ti ekina kem kataka sinjan pume kumpana no me pa binta na binta hena iseno komeni chukutfiani to marse patu na nata kamanya la nka no America system ya fane himfape wo warranty tikiten afuka follow to banketi isoki ni njile flefi hinom e kumpan. pokon ka sinchan warante e pulo pa nganga mekanin kalon dolon to pakan pokon ka sinchan pa en bedi him pumen ka choy ni man pume antake nka sokeni e kumpane e au fini no parce que le fi ka fan wa e wa meni samani jale kale kan en kan nka chobe kumban e meni 1 million yo ninga chuyi amfang e dini choy wa he wanji nyanga wa choy toko dimbaye to eteli so le ka gubuga inki em fo akasinjam fo la pume ay antak we ko fale me tinya ko di pe himba di pume mpuchoy nka sokeni awe e kumbane di fie afini hinom chonko ay to ngati ti marse de bukumbamba hinyes barano wan ngale fie kachakanen ka mene le fidu le chekani binta information to njufoni o fanalo warante ni programme pa ne sincanalo ni kupio ni tihiteni unufu ni no hinalo link ning nimbinda purukan ni nio kachakam pike ke uchakan wa we chakante wale
bro
so
one thing okay. Binta, what qualification in terms of documentary will make one to buy a house?
What qualification?
Yes, want to have as a document like a passport, whatever, you know.
Okay, because like I was about to say that I was waiting for Mr. Jaju. Because of immigration status.
Yes.
Okay, because you have the green card. No, you can buy a home here as long as ada social security or as long as ada
employment card.
Engenge in file
IRS
taxes.
Okay. IRS, okay.
IRS. The word just disappeared in me. So as long as abali dipohin and abanchoy IRS, that information alone qualified you to own your home. To go yana busan many mitawa to bank, to go yana busan man mamata pohandu, ada kata harje ha many hatege. Invest on a home. Chakan the right people. That's where we always come in. We immigration in Becha Gibbon. Honey, Anne that Timahmeme. Yemitimigema, Ntak money. And so, okay, in Gambian GM. But I hang you that I'm my man in live hanka at Atlanta. Tanoda and I leave for Fika and not over. Away you gonna be a cash payer. Our money me and how memorlefie you spend. Me almost manufacture abnorm hanga straight. So that's what it is. Other people also approve kabusage Mr. Jaju awanyangana 200-300 nu approve. Puro agar norm hang. But our mafangaya alifia pianata yo kanga sera ser mema. Those properties are higher than what you are approved for. I discourage. Do not to discourage. Take a mafa. Apunom hang hatogo. City dantang. Lola hina accumulate more. Kuet ne fisag memak. Norman hang. Nuke apple lefiapa. Norm hanga heti lefia for a dream home. No make it. Again, if it's a gap, you're not go. Ma fanga lakin lefi. Ma fanga na no hang. Go do it somewhere else because panopanangaga katate anangaga. So you have to let that be. Yeah.
All right. Binta ane rataka yang kanan pampakala mai. Nyonge roni fe I'm actually learning a lot from your program. All right. Here's another program that here's another question that I wanted to ask before we run away from time. All right. Some people will say, hey, I don't have good credit or I don't have money stacked at the bank in order to be able to buy a house. Can I buy a house with $0? Henjin chakane binta ninkiti bobo komeni pike pa nyonge roni nefefe ta ko fale e yanchi hintane te bank. So njile file fie kumpan njifo ni pakayo pakano e kumpan njipeta ko manyo te bank bare credit keto yo biena be igna jinchakane binta yo jufo ni ka chakana
ekinanga soga first time home buyers panoban ne awe ya yo hinom hang for the first time at so many opportunities lenda sepakati if go funny all the opportunities kap hintan opportunity eti again first of zero down payment again so for funny money I'll be down payment eti uraga di ni nom hange So to get no abuso bao anyang na hitago $10,000 in your account to do a closing cost or the costs that will come down payment and stuff like that. No, if your credit score is good, your income is good, you've been working for some time, and you are approved, go see the options. Always reach out. Alone le feel wahowa secret. Alone le feel secret. Because sol fango afa meaning agna le feel hangna meaning gibinda meme bara le feed fala na me pondo na jana kana na je hin sign kind kenga mena nyangan ko hin sign. Wallahi. So chakan the right people. Pe man nyangane pokai. Awa you have the option of being maneuver. Barang sakayang gangan. Binta, Inji, or somebody else. Tukuka hinoma hank. Tukuka to a lender. Amid EPC yearly ni yame. Nga hin sign wa because all the feed from bank of mate higher. Yeah. So.
All right. Yo nyonge Tony. Njif sok okay. Hameam hinum ekumpan ninji mamana ninji soka pieto ufan ho epukam. Bare epukuna pa enkape tibabudu you never know man awelankinela efukele fitoko pieno warante etika inotoko heni wonon pikeba unase bote warante unifie ke mkape nu yemiti ti kangatol. Bare chukamni kilimka kenka jama enka soke ka fioi ko buka tika fulen pamilo lal pape ne pati infada bisipa kunuam. What do you have to say to that?
I always tell parents, stop leaning on your children. Stop putting your dreams on your children. Let them spread their wings. Now it aga hank. Awe la yemla le fit toko. Awe hina pare pier. No man hanga chakani mam pako pangal fieba afi ni bo hinu invest poe abu no mi toko hank bang. O njob manimam dinaganti chibedi. Stop leaning on your children. That's all I said. Okay. These children, they will do their own way. Una opportunity and utagoraya tenuf. Una hindafala smart to be like our children here. If we can come to this country and accomplish something, what about the ones that are born here?
Exactly.
Exactly.
So leave them children alone. Let them run their dreams. All right.
All right.
So sell your home, put your money in the pocket, or buy it where they want to stay, so you will not lose that that money.
Here is a final question from one of our listeners. He's saying, I think the neighborhood also plays a role in the price of a house. A neighborhood with high crime may have cheap properties, but may not be safe for you. What's Binta's advice? I can also chip in something.
Okay. When I moved to this property here where I live, my husband bought a home. So when we came to this, we bought our property cash.
Okay.
Okay. This husband of mine took me to these mansions, to these big lawyers. I was like, I'm going to my level. I like to cut my coat at my level, you know, at my size. So we came to this community here. It looks like it's weird and everything. But when we bought the property, the value started going up. Everybody started, America crime crime. That's all I can say. Those people, they don't do crimes there. But Njibinta, as a real estate agent, Nji namto ko gubuku luwaye fandam progadini hinu recommend neighborhood ya. But nji fa funny website ya meaning a fangi fuga his search website neighborhood ya nsinjam poti fangi manamanti hinu comfortable on tateolpo find out the history of the neighborhood so you can buy your own property. Now the few people go to another area.
Okay, all right. So let me just add a little bit to what Binta has said to the question of where you live or where you buy your house in the United States. we are fortunate to be in a blessed country and a country that has got many means. Before you buy a house, of course, you know your neighborhood. If you don't know your neighborhood, you can always go online, put the zip code, and it will definitely tell you what pertains around that your neighborhood or around that zip code. Or if you drive there or you visit there, talk to people that live around that neighborhood, they'll be able to tell you this is a good place to live. Like in the area that I live, Nakiyole, I can tell you every area, fie, nimfie, nechuke. So chukamni, una kalonia kema kape, uinia ini piyankana nol, ne lesumazu samani jifioi. I used to be in Memphis and it looked like a police state for me. Because at the end, 2 or 3 streets up at Chukuta Police, and every school in Memphis has a police presence. And I'm like, let them get the feel a bugam kapolongle. So he moved in Wisconsin. And I drove here for like a week. Chukanto police on Soge in Soguchedium, Folenita, or police or bang. That's what I'm hankai Kobukale. Spongy Chukanti. Because it's a different, completely different environment. So let me mean Spampale. Hani la yemle na nakana wahlama fi ni sokoni pakan kena put ko puka pukoli because lena ning kachokunga nakana chacha system ya panoba nangaye omwa no na pani napan so nana kana lama efe sokoni kala opakinele kala opake eta soki chacha ode but efe sokoni ange wahewe mpohin opale. I was privileged of working in the security services, so I know a whole lot and I know who lives around me. Yo, njilobo hi him korosi membak. So if you pull on to antimpatak he fail, le manyang hinom ekumpan ning ekinatimpeun atinom ekumpan. Yo helompo binta naso getanga no hude ekumpan etei. Value was down, but fear your peer kaka because nim value hina high, penga mekani chibete ina toko choi, efukatengo. So ninkatengia neighborhood etalulombo for the improve. Because a marenge value won't be himpa high lama afjuki katengia. I've seen that in Memphis a whole lot.
Mr. before you move on, okay. Before time we run out of time, a service lombo you provide a rent to own. Pagan kale penga mekaning rent to own. Rent to own mean apicha chobo ekumbani abiago luas pur kachamia akatanom because time go fun. Okay. Mistake ya paganunanga hinia pogonka kaka kapakati oman kom Mr. Jaju hangetio ngaga njodo hin rent tag na nga himbilia no nga job hanka bar nim Mr. Jaju apan choy to luasia Mr. Jaju akanda abu choy luasia me ona job man choy la mo fioblo ndu na tio apete abaka hanga ha nga job wata because ni kopuni yamto egnanji hine partnered with DV Homes a company ning Home Partners of America pogo hanga ha nka no cash no hina qualified nka no me hanga cash nka nakanita hanga abucho abiag luwa sutogo ni chop time frame e ya mening anya ngana hino hanga ni omwade tunia afanga singe obuso ni credit kete singe obuso ni manyama mata wa ho le fi hinu divi falanga nganga na abi safe man puru agadi ni hino hanga kachop. So I will encourage everybody ning awe luwas to rent to own a lefi chogu fala agadi ni kamanol fange abi suitable fange. He reach out to me jifa hini fakamani deal janning Africa at hank.
Okay. All right. Binta, thank you very much there. Sol, if you have your last words before we run out of time, we have about a minute to go.
Okay, my last word in Jibusa Ninkulonai. Yes. Ekne Kalonia Njibate Soko Pisinjan Babakatuna Kemka YouTube, Facebook, platform Tihitaini Kanichuga Binta Anangamani alone, Anyi alone, Uyankana no Pampano, Hamete of another FIFA Puru Katahini. Puhimpe bana tempo katipini po taxipes focha patuna Gambia or Casamas or Kalorn because eknalompo yete oti hamia ning kuye ete kayafe enapa afa nyakan epeso hani patuna so kuye hamia enapa na puru una Kalorn una kapambano an una kapambano una la mauna so please nibadi soko Kalorn ni ochokola upambanganola anana ngata get business wahowa fulitoni komfa binta na fuliva unufu hinkate to ni upusako ni kulonai nusako ni English because raje etuna so njibate soko kalon fie blonda nan panayam we ne ko suma hinde ko sumai. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much, Binta, for taking your time and talking to our audience and laying our fears, including myself. I think I'll be your first customer. I'll call your number. I call your number every day this week. We thank you so much for taking your time and talking to us. We always appreciate your knowledge and your selfless type for sharing whatever knowledge you have among our people as well as the diverse community of the Gambia. I think most of the people here listening today, majority might be Karoninkas, but based on what I've seen here, the reactions that I've seen on Facebook, probably you might need to go and watch it later. You will see all the comments and you see the thousands of stars and the love signs that we got today.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people appreciate, and I'm sure you're going to get a lot of calls. So we'll try and rebroadcast this program on our YouTube. You can also relay it on your channel. We thank you so much. We believe that with questions that are going to be coming through our Facebook, I may not have answers to all of those. I'll reach out to you for answers. We thank each and every one of you for your time and thank you for watching. This might not be the first, and it will not be the last. It will not be the last. Thank you so much.
I love y'all.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Yeah.
See here.